Morning everyone, hope everyone's doing well. And what I want to talk about in this video is short-term therapy versus long-term therapy. So if you're watching this for the first time, I've been a therapist for I think it's 16 years now, I have to keep remembering, and I've done a range of roles. So some roles have been working for organisations where there's been a limited amount of sessions you can have. So with Women's Aid you could have 8 sessions. As an EAP counsellor you could have 6 sessions. Those could be extended, but mostly that was it. In my private practice as a counsellor, I've worked with anything from 2 or 3 sessions with a client who just had a few things they wanted to discuss. Single session therapy, where they've literally had 1 session, all the way up to 2 years, and returning clients that have been coming back since 2020, so for 5 years coming back and forth for top-up sessions. So I just want to give a bit of perspective on it really. My feeling as a counsellor is that there's no set rules, but my belief or my feeling is that if you are working with a counsellor and you have a specific issue that you want to resolve, but it's not too intense, so it's not childhood trauma, it's not something which means it may take years for you to work through or to heal from, it is something which could be resolved or could be at least discussed and explored within short-term therapy. So when I say short-term, talking maybe 12 weeks to 5 months maximum. Now, the reason that it's sometimes good to differentiate between this is because you're working with your counsellor in a different way. When you are working on an issue where you have a therapy goal, where it's something like, okay, I want to work on work through a breakup I've gone through, or I want to work on communication with my partner, I want to work on issues at work. My belief is that you can work on those things within short-term therapy. You could even really work on those things sometimes with 2 or 3 sessions of intense therapy. When it comes to long-term therapy, my belief is that if someone has got childhood trauma that is impacting on their day-to-day functioning, so they're working through whether it's child abuse, whether it's through neglect as a child, whether it's through they've got attachment issues, so they're struggling in their relationships, that will take longer term work. What sometimes happens is that counsellors, because it's a collaborative thing, you're not going to say to a client, okay, we've had enough sessions now, I see that you're just talking about the same thing and you've reached your goal, but you are still turning up for therapy. You're not going to say that to a client, but there are situations where there needs to be more reviews, there needs to be more conversation, because I do believe that sometimes for clients, they get used to coming to therapy, it becomes a routine, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you've been going to therapy for 6 months and you've resolved everything, but you just don't feel ready or safe enough yet to leave, that's a conversation I think counsellors then need to have with their clients, because there are situations, I've been finding this more and more in my work, where it feels like the client has achieved their goal, we've worked long enough together, they're now coming and they're saying, I don't really know what to talk about, or they're talking about the same thing, repeating it, there's no progress or being made or nothing's moving forward, but they just don't want to say, I don't think I need any more sessions yet. So for me, that's where a review comes in, because when you review things with your client, they might say, yeah, do you know, I have achieved my goal. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to focus on. So to me, I don't think all the time that people need long-term therapy, but I don't know sometimes if they believe that they need to continue just in case. And that's where the counsellor comes in. As a counsellor, sometimes you have to say, okay, well, let's review what you came to counselling for. Let's look at all the progress that's been made. Let's see if there's a focus you want to focus on, and then go from there. So yeah, it's not a set thing, but I do think sometimes there is a case for having shorter term therapy, and there are cases for long-term therapy. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Bye.